So, Brooke Fraser, how are you?
Good.
Good?
How are you?
I'm fantastic. It's an honour to meet you.
Oh,
Fellow Kiwi.
Yeah, it's very good. I needed to see a smiling home face today.
Oh, you got one.
Yeah.
Have you been in London long?
I've been here for 3 nights precisely, and we depart tomorrow.
So, quite a quick trip.
Yes, but we will be back again in 2 weeks for a show.
Because you've got the Union Chapel tonight, and you've got Cadogan Hall. I always forget how to say that, Cadogan or Cadogan. It's Cadogan, isn't it?
Cadogan feels right to me. I don't know if
It
it's
rolls
right
off the
place.
tongue a little
Yeah,
more.
Cadogan.
So we just caught a bit of your warm-up.
Yes.
Yeah, that was sounding good.
That's good.
You're pretty psyched.
I am psyched, yes. It's going to be very interesting. This is the first show that we've ever done in this format. We have had approximately 14 hours to create a show with 3 people, which is not very long. And so we will see how it goes. This is the experimental guinea pig night.
So what's the usual format?
Usual format is full band.
Okay.
And this album particularly is very much a full band album. So translating it into me and 2 other people in a short space of time has been a very exciting challenge. And I hope that tonight we somehow miraculously pull it off.
Well, it sounded terrific so far.
Thank you.
You've chosen a pretty good venue as well. I mean, this is one of the nicest venues. There's a lot of venues in London, and this is one of the nicest ones. So
Yeah,
must
I've
be
heard amazing things about it, and it's lived up to it so far. It's pretty amazing, so I'm pretty excited.
yeah. So you're about to release your debut album in the UK,
Yes.
Flags. Can you tell us a bit about the album?
Yes, the album, as you said, it's my debut album in the UK, but my 3rd album in life. And I think it's the right album for us to kind of step out on in the UK. I kind of feel like I have, I'm really in a place now where I have, found my voice, I suppose you would say, as an artist and musician, and I'm kind of at a place in life where I have perhaps gotten used to the touring life a little bit more, and I'm not sure. I feel that I feel ready for whatever this means, and it could mean everything, it could mean nothing, but I'm very excited just to get my music out to a new audience, and particularly I think because we spend so much time in America, it's actually really refreshing to come to the UK where it feels a bit more like home, and it just feels like there's a bit of a natural kind of click here, so it's a really it's really nice to be here.
So you're considered, excuse the expression, but a newbie over here, musically.
Absolutely.
But you've been in the public eye over in, throughout the Pacific since, 2003? What to Do with Daylight, your debut album,
Yes.
and then Albertine, 2006.
Yes.
So what have you learned in the past 7-8 years to get to this point?
Yeah, I think it's funny because when it's almost like I feel like I've had my musical puberty as an artist in front of people, because in 2002, when I first signed with the label and all that kind of thing, I was 18 and fresh out of high school, and I didn't come from a musical family, and I didn't grow up around a lot of music or in a particularly musical culture in the area I was from, and so really my entire musical education kind of happened once I was actually out on the road, with other artists, and kind of and moved up to Auckland and started kind of playing little gigs around the place, and really became part of the musical community. So that kind of happened quite late. So I feel like almost I'd been writing for a long time, but again it was a really secluded and kind of isolated thing with very little outside influences. And so I think, but yeah. So in the past 7-8 years, I feel like I have, I've had my musical, I suppose I've begun my musical education. I would say it's far from over, and I still have so much to learn. But I think I'm confident in who I am as an artist, and I think I know what I am and what I'm not, and feel comfortable with that. I kind of know my parameters, and I've kind of really enjoyed the past few years, particularly building an audience through really, really hard touring in Australia and America particularly. In New Zealand initially it was more kind of radio driven, but in the other territories, it's certainly been kind of, you know, just getting in a van and going and playing to people, and then going back and playing to a few more people, and then going back and playing to a few more people, and kind of growing an audience that way, which I think is the way to build a loyal fan base, you know, because they're people who are connecting to you as an artist and coming on the journey with you rather than just perhaps buying like a single track on the internet. They're kind of invested in the music, which is really cool.
So do you feel comfortable that the time is right now for your first release over here in the UK?
I think so. I mean, to be honest, I think I'm pretty sober about it, and I think, you know, I don't have any aspirations of world domination, you know, or having 50 million number one singles. I just think, you know, that I think that the music I make would appeal to people who don't know about it yet. So I suppose my mission is to come here to the UK and tour, and hopefully get radio play, but it's not essential. But tour and meet people and kind of and I suppose introduce myself to whoever cares, whoever wants to listen. Yeah.
So the latest album, Flags, it's got the first single, Something in the Water.
Yeah.
And that's been your most successful single to date, hasn't it?
Yes, it has.
How has it been over here?
In the UK?
Yeah.
We just got our first radio ad a few weeks ago to BBC Two, to A Playlist, which was amazing. But then what was not amazing was that the earthquake and tsunami happened in Japan, which was obviously an extraordinarily tragic world event, and so the BBC felt that it was inappropriate to have Something in the Water, a song with Something in the Water inside. So they made the decision to retire it for a while, which I completely understand, and obviously I want to be completely sensitive to that situation. So I think word is that it may be going back, but we'll see what happens. But it's very, very early days yet, and this is my first show of the UK tour tonight about to happen, so we'll see what unfolds. I don't know.
So what's in store over the next year, if you're looking ahead? What have you got in store? Are you going to be doing a more extensive tour throughout the UK at all? Or?
I hope so, yeah. The rest of the year is certainly full of touring, so I'll be away the rest of the year, but covering kind of America again, and New Zealand and Australia again, but hopefully, definitely, I think we have plans to come back. I don't know if I'm allowed to say when, but yes, hopefully that will be happening. Yes.
Good to hear. Going back to the album Flags, which is the new one that's going to be released next month.
Yeah.
And we are still in March. April.
I think so.
Yep.
Yeah, April, yeah. Yeah, that's when it's coming out, yeah.
Sweet. Have you got a favourite on the album, like a favourite track?
Oh, it's hard. Something in the Water is, I don't know, it might sound kind of cheesy to say because it's the single and yada yada yada, but I love playing it because it's a really different kind of song for me, and it's a song that's really brought, I think, so much life to my shows, and I really, really love. One of my favourite things every night is getting to that song and seeing people kind of get on their feet and start stamping their feet and kind of twirling each other around and kind of waving their hands and, you know, singing along. I really, really love that. That's been really enjoyable. And my other song, like probably on the other end of the spectrum, is a song called Crows and Locusts, which is kind of the epic of the album. It's the longest song on the record, but it's kind of a song which I'm really proud of, and which I really, really love to sing and to play.
So you've been sort of given a lending hand, I suppose, from some quite respectable musicians on this album as well. William Fitzsimmons and Bo Runga, to name a couple. Yep. How did that come about? And what was that experience for you working with those musicians? Yeah,
well, this album was really, for me, I would say that the spark that sparked this collection of songs happened at Coachella, a music festival in the States. And I arrived at Coachella kind of pretty burnt out from my previous 3 years of touring, my second album, and I was standing at a side stage at Coachella while the sun was going down, and Fleet Fox is one of my favourite bands, took the stage and started to play, and I just had this moment where their music kind of filtered through the sound system, and it was so pure and so real and so powerful, and I felt kind of everyone around me we all took a collective gasp and kind of leaned into this music, and it's just a moment where I remembered the power of music, and that I'm so privileged to be able to do this, for a job, and that's something that I can't take for granted. Yep. And so I knew that I wanted that was a life-giving moment for me in terms of music, and I wanted this album to reflect that. I wanted it to reflect community and music, the way that music brings people together and kind of can collectively impact people, and also the other great moments that I've had that have been life-giving in music in terms of collaborating with other people and jumping up on a stage to sing a harmony to one of my friends at one of my friends' shows or something. And so it was important to me that it was a community effort. So I tried to achieve that in a number of ways. Both in the actual way we recorded it, so we didn't get one player at a time kind of layering on a track. Everyone sat in a room in a circle, and we had the amps in other rooms and isolated everyone's sound, but we sat in a circle and we played together. And so it's a live recording in that sense, and kind of everyone's kind of feeding off of each other and playing that way. And like you mentioned, getting friends on board. So I wrote a song with Matt Hales from Aqualung, and that's the first duet that I've ever done in an album. William Fitzsimmons, who's a dear friend of mine, and we talked together a few years ago. I got him in to do BVs, and we sang a duet that's a bonus track on the iTunes edition. And who else? John Foreman from Switchfoot, Carrie Brothers, Laura Jansen, and all of the band sang as well. So just a bunch of different people on there kind of contributing their voice or banging things or something like that. But when I listen to the album, I hear my friends, and that really pleases me.
It's pretty moving. So when you tour, what sort of a show can we expect? For example, tonight, what sort of a show? Do you have any surprises that you throw into the set? Any covers or anything like that, or we're keeping it a bit of a secret?
Well, this won't air before tonight, so I can probably give it away a little bit.
Yeah, that's correct.
Well, this tour is a trio tour, as I said before, which is really different for me. I haven't done that. I did that with the last album, but at the initial stage, so maybe 5 years ago, a really, really long time ago. And so it's really interesting to. I've had to really stretch myself to cover a lot of different parts. So I'm kind of, in some songs, I'm going from the guitar to the piano, back to the guitar. I'm experimenting with technology, which I am terrible. Like, I'm such a lo-fi person. I do not understand technology at all. And so I'm kind of playing with some loop stations and doing some vocal layering and stuff. And yeah, so really kind of stretching myself. And there's a little bit of a sneaky cover in there as well, which hopefully people will enjoy.
Brilliant. And in regards to recording an album, you are pretty much a Wonder Woman of music, aren't you? I mean, you get right into the creation of an album. You write all your own songs. You act as producer on the record. Is that a vital role? I mean, do you like to have that control? Is that something that's important to you when?
Well, Flames was the first album that I produced, and it kind of happened by default because I think, as an artist, when you want to engage the services of a producer, you do it because you love the way that their touch on an album, you love the way that they approach things sonically or whatever. And for this collection of songs, there was just there was no one I could think of that I wanted their colouring on it. I just wanted the songs to be presented really simply, and I didn't want it to be a perfect album with no kinks. It's not a perfect album, by any stretch of the imagination. We kept in the creaking guitars or the kind of scratchy vocals, or we kept these things in there. I wanted it to be a really human album, and so I felt that one of the best ways to do that would just be to allow it to happen with a bunch of musicians and to choose an engineer I really trusted, and then proceed that way. So even though my name is on there as producer, I really kind of I'm certainly not any kind of genius, and I just really wanted to just let things grow and happen kind of naturally. So if that's producing, then I guess I did do it. But I kind of feel like it was just I kind of just steered a ship that was kind of going the way it was going to go anyway.
Yeah. So coming from New Zealand, you moved to Australia soon after your breakthrough.
Mm-hmm.
Has it been an easy transition into being now that you're over in the UK, you've toured all around America, an international artist. Has it been an easy transition for you, or is it?
I'm not sure. I think it's probably, I guess I've never thought of myself as an international artist or a national artist or anything. I suppose I just get on the plane and go wherever I need to go. But it has. I mean, I feel really, really, really blessed about the way that my journey has unfolded as an artist. It's kind of been just a step at a time, and I don't think at any point I've been overwhelmed, but at every point I've been stretching just a little bit. And so, with this album, Flags, it's the first album that we've really released everywhere at once. So my first album we only released in New Zealand and Australia, and that was kind of 2 separate years. And then Albertine, we released it in New Zealand, then Australia the next year, then America the year after that. That was a stretching time, I think, because it was pretty full on touring, one album for 3 years, and then getting off the road and going, okay, so next album now. I'm like, I just need a bit of a holiday, to be honest. But I went through all that and got stuck in a rut and all that kind of thing. But then these songs really brought me out of that, and I'm just really pleased to be touring them, and I feel just so lucky that I get to tour them kind of all over the world. It's really cool.
So what's next for Brooke Fraser?
What is next? I suppose I'm going to write out this album, see what happens, and what opportunities spring forth, and if they're the right ones, take them. If they're not, then I won't. And then I really want to try and make another record next year if I can. I certainly don't want it to be another 4 years between albums. That's a little long. So yeah, always looking forward whilst enjoying what I have.
Well, I hope we get to see a lot more of you.
Thank you very much.
And thank you.
Thank you.
Cool.
Yay.